without a mic, and none of y'all said anything because none of y'all are there. Hi. Okay. Let's try this again. I'm back again. I've got a whole new setup that you can see here. Let me just adjust it a little bit. The frames are funny. There we go. I've got a webcam set up. It's a little laggy right now. I'm hoping to figure out a way so that it doesn't lag as much in the future. But that's what we're working with today. I've got the chat floating above my shoulder. I've got a little preview of the SNES Classic in an attract mode running right now. Currently it's replaying the last time that I played Final Fantasy VI. I really want to play that game all the way through, but I stopped for a long time, and now I just kind of like, I don't know if I can start it back up again and remember everything I was doing before. What sucks, because I really don't want to have to start it back up again. Commitment's hard. Anyway, let's play some EarthBound, right? Sorry, my chair is so creaky. I'm gonna increase my volume a little bit. Alright, we were playing yesterday with this color name setup. Made it into town. And we're beating up the local ruffians. We know that we need to go to the giant step because we were told by our friend Buzz Buzz that giant step is one of the sanctuaries that we need to collect in order to be able to defeat Gigas, the evil menace. But Giant Step is locked away behind the Traveler's Shack, and we need the key. So let's talk to Hillary Clinton. She says she's going to try to stop us, but she wasn't very successful. It's the second reference to butts, if you're counting. Okay, so that's how you figure out that you need to take care of the sharks so that you can actually get to the mayor. But taking care of the sharks means you gotta build up those muscles there. So let's investigate. I think this is the first skate punk that we're encountering. They're one of those that has a tendency to get a smash on you when you're least expecting. I don't know how to skateboard, I have to admit. I've never learned. I am from California, so I do know how to inline skate, but I think that's because I'm gay. But skateboarding just never made any sense to me. I just don't have the necessary balance abilities Which I don't know. That's not true because there were many times in my PE career that's short-lived that there were times when we had to do like balance activities, and I could always tell everyone else in class would have issues with them. Like there was one time where I remember specifically we were like stretching our legs, and the teacher was asking us to like stand on one leg and then hold one of our other ankle, and then kind of squat with one leg. And I had no issue doing that for some reason, but everyone else in class did. Ooh, okay, I'm good. Everyone else was like wobbling around, but I was fine. So that was like the first time that I'd ever felt like I don't know, competent at any physical activity. That could have been bad. That could also be very bad. Let's use some of this. I tend to heal a lot using PSI because it's kind of free. All you have to do is sleep, and then you get it all back without having to spend any money. Granted, you do reach a point in this game where you have all the money in the world, but that's not till much later. I hate the parts in RPGs where you end up having to struggle to heal, and then you find out you really only had to do one more hit and you would have been scot-free. Not my favorite moments. I always feel like a fool. I just wish oftentimes that oh, there we go, speaking of how PSI is free, it's our first PSI butterfly. Magic butterfly. That's right. That's one thing I like. It's like in Zelda games when you find hearts lying around with the butterflies. I don't think many other RPGs that have like healing items just lying around. They don't really give you very many sharks on the outside. I wonder if it's because you're not supposed to grind as much as I end up doing. I have pogoed before, but pogo is actually very dangerous. And I'm not the biggest risk taker. It's also very funny, like, yeah, like, a skateboarder, you know, that's a hooligan right there in the making. But then they also have a pogo punk and a guy with a hula hoop. I love that. Okay, I thought there were 3 people. Yes, man. And that's another thing I never understood. It was never like a... Maybe it's because hula hoop is trademarked. It could have had something to do with it. Yes, man can call on other people more often. So we're going to try to take him out first. How many times have you felt like you're on the brink in your regular life? Too often for me. There's those times when I'm working and I forget to eat. And then when I do finally eat, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I wasn't doing that great. Until then. Until I had a drink of water. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. This might be a little tough. We're okay with health. I think I'm gonna go with escape pump first because they can be pretty tough. Although the guessmen do have more consistent damage. Oh no. Let's try to take out the yes man again. Oof, okay. We're gonna try to do this. This is probably one of the most dangerous parts of the game too, because you just don't have other people with you. Granted, when you do get your next two team members, they are a little frail, so you gotta like make sure they stay healthy. But if they're firing on all cylinders, then you're attacking pretty well. This part though, you can get ganged up on like this, and it's not as fun. Alright, okay. We're good. We're good. See, I knew what I was capable of. Let's just hope we're not missing any attacks. That could have been really bad if they gotten a lot of critical hits on me. Okay, we put in all that work, and I'm not about to lose it all. So we're just gonna safety, heal. I know I can take him out in 2 hits. But you never know. Alright. I've been in a fight exactly once. And it wasn't really a fight. It was in middle school. I was in 7th grade. And there was this like guy who was a huge bully. Just like mean looking dude. Oh shoot. And he bullied me throughout the entire year. He was in my PE class. That's the only time I ever had to come into contact him. I don't even remember his name. So I don't know why he was so fixated on bullying me. I think it wasn't just me. I think it was just everyone. So he didn't make me feel special. But this guy, he would always give me flat tires. That's where he steps on the back of my shoe. And he was bigger and stronger, so of course he was better at all these sports that we were subjected to at PE. There was just one day, I don't know, in middle school I was a very angry person too. My temper was very short. So I don't know why I even let this happen for so long, but it wasn't until the springtime when I finally had enough, and it was like a picture day of some kind. The second one in the year where they try to like make us pay for some pictures that we don't need. But we all have to take the picture anyway, because, I don't know, surveillance state or whatever. We're treating ourselves to a hotel, even though mom is a few blocks away. Yeah, so this guy, I'm dressed nice too, because it's a picture day, so I want to make sure that I don't know, if there's a photo record, I want it to be cute. Cute to me back then meant definitely a sweater vest and definitely a pair of hush puppy boots that I had. And then this guy, he gave me a flat tire on our way to walking over to the cafeteria where this was happening. And I was done. So I turned around and I gave him a nice, quick kick in the shins with my boots. Because the thing that he didn't realize was that for the last 4 years, I had been playing soccer. So that was the one thing that I was okay at, just because I had done it, because my parents had forced me and my brother and sister to do it. I'm trying to remember what my team name was. I wanted to say something like the Tigers or something. I don't know. Eagles? I think we were the Eagles. We had a white uniform. But yeah, so I gave him a quick, fast kick in the shin. Like he deserved. He deserved more than that. And then I ran. I'm not the fastest runner either. I ran, but here's the thing. I ran to, I think my lawful part of my brain kicked in. And that was the one that said, yeah, you have somewhere to be, so go to that place. So, of course, he was on his way to the same place. He ends up catching up to me, and he puts me in a chokehold. And I struggle, and then I couldn't breathe for a little bit, too. Who knows how much longer he would have held me in there if not for the cafeteria lady who saw us and pulled us apart. Yeah, I ended up having to talk to the assistant principal that day, and they made us wait for a long time in the office and to get the story on what had happened. He was bleeding. Dude. I'm not a proponent of violence all the time, but this guy was so awful. Yeah. So then the vice principal. So when he pulls me in, he's like, he knew who I was, and he knew that I'm this like do-gooder nerd kid wearing my sweater vest, and I think I was probably crying too, because not only had I gone through the traumatic experience of being put in a chokehold, but also I had broken the rule. I had broken some rules, and also I was furious. It was a mix of emotions. But he talks me down and then says, I'm going to bring him back in here, to talk to you both at the same time. And I just want you to know that you're not in trouble. But I will be making it seem like you're in trouble when I'm talking to him. It's just important that you know that in the future, you will be a boss to people like him. I refuse to work with people like this. You will be a boss to people like him. And he will, like, you will succeed. He will not. Basically, which gave me, I don't know, a sense of superiority back then, and that's not a great thing, because young Luis was not the nicest, but it did make me feel good at the time. Let's see, I've gotten so strong now that nobody's coming up. Nobody wants to talk to me. Oh. I always run away a little bit, because if there's more than one of those sharks, like you've seen there, they all attack you at the same time. You gotta split them up. That also wasn't the only time I ever kicked someone in the shins either. I was bullied a lot in junior high. I had a wheelie backpack, and there was this guy who, in between classes, would kick my wheelie backpack, and every single day, and like I really should have just changed which way I was going to class, but like me being the good person, good like rule follower, I was going straight from point A to point B, and this pathway was the fastest. So it didn't make sense to me in the get to your class fast route to go anywhere else. But this guy, he didn't even know me. He wasn't in any of my classes. Would just always see me pulling my wheelie backpack because they made us carry all those huge textbooks to and from our house every day. The fact that they had us do that is so wrong. So that's why I had the wheelie backpack, because those textbooks are huge. And you're taking like what, 5 different classes, so each one of them has a different textbook that you have to bring back and forth from school to your house. Yeah, I had a wheelie backpack. Ugh, I'm getting mad. I really should. I should forgive this guy for doing this. I'm just trying. I don't know. Empathy can only go so far, right? Yeah, but anyway, this guy at one time he kicked my backpack, and I had enough, and so I kicked him in the shins. And I was wearing the same Hush Puppy shoes. This might have happened at around the same time too. I'm a little unclear. But yeah, kicked him, and then I ran. I actually picked up my wheelie backpack. It didn't matter how heavy those textbooks were. I was hauling them. So I ran. Fortunately, this guy didn't know who I was or where I was going, so he couldn't find me. Went to class like nothing was happening. And then a few days later, someone was like, "Hey, do you know like Uriel Perez or something?" And I'm like, "Who?" "Yeah, he says you kicked him in the shins." And I think in the moment I may have said, "Did he say it hurt?" You know what? He didn't bother me again. Yeah, really shouldn't be promoting all this schoolyard violence as we're beating up all these other little youngsters in our town. But that's what this part of this game always makes me think of. Just kind of taking out the bullies. Granted, I am using a bat. And they keep dropping hamburgers. Let's toss some cookies. Let's see, what level are we at? 6. I believe we learn PSI, or offensive PSI, at 10. So we've got some time to go. We're up to 3 butts. Oh, speaking of tea, I've got some cold coffee to drink. Yes. And he calls you Spanky. Yes, I do love giving tips to my enemies to show that I'm not afraid of them. That's how you know you got control of the situation. Alright, we're taking less damage now than we used to. So we can last a little longer. I think about this, this cool guy sprite that pops up a lot with hair that matches his jacket. There's an allusion to that Frank tank. The other day, we were talking about if we ever grew up in with arcades around. And my older coworkers were talking about how, like, oh yeah, like we'd go to the mall and I'd like going to the arcade instead of like going shopping. And then one of my coworkers said he'd spent close to $100 on the Konami Simpsons game, the beat 'em up. $100. He'd gotten the $100 from like a birthday or something, and so he had to spend, and he wanted to see the end. He said he had his brother was helping him through parts of it, but that he blazed through that $100 just to beat up Mr. Burns. We're throwing out our cookies. The one thing I hate, I don't like about this game is that the game doesn't remind you what you're going to be replacing in your inventory. So if you're a button masher like me, often you will forget, and you gotta take a chance. Which goes to show you really shouldn't speed through things in life. I mean, maybe if you can process that information, but you can't that quickly. A friend of mine asked me if I was going to be speedrunning games since I was starting this up. No. Speedrunning, I feel, requires some skill, and that's a skill I don't want to develop, to be honest. I do really like grinding in games. The only issue for me is usually I don't have a dedicated TV. So I always feel bad when it's a TV console game, RPG. I feel bad occupying the TV for that long because I don't live alone. And also, usually when I'm grinding, I like doing other stuff, like, I don't know, watching TV, half paying attention to something. I guess this is me deciding I want to talk to myself out loud. I'm storytelling. Alright. We're getting closer and closer to our goal. I'm pretty sure I've fought Frank before at the level before getting to level 10, and then I level up in the fight, which then gives me the offensive PSA that I definitely need for Normally when I play this game, the sharks call for help a lot more than they have been in this playthrough. I do wish there was an indicator that, like, to warn you that someone was about to do that. Oh, I talked about this at the beginning of the stream, but I don't know if you'll notice, but I created the background for my stream to be EarthBound themed. I noticed my webcam's being a little funky. I'm gonna try to fix that. Alright, I'll be right back. Gotta remember to unmute that mic. Back again. I was trying to use my iPhone camera because I paid so much for it. I've thought that there's like an app I could use that would then allow me to use, utilize that camera as a webcam, but it turns out it gets really laggy, and that's not fun. I want to see y'all see me in as real time as possible. Maybe I'll invest in a better webcam, but they're pretty expensive, considering I have this cheap one. And y'all really don't need to see me in high definition. Don't deserve it. Let's see. Dad's throwing that money in there. I love it. I wish direct deposits were like a continual thing, you know? That would just keep coming up. Not just twice a month. I do have this weird phenomenon where I feel like my health sometimes takes a dip. Maybe once or twice a month, and then it's not until I get that direct deposit that then I start feeling like myself again. It used to be worse. Now it's not that bad, but it used to be really bad. Oh, here we go. The Yes Men is such a look. It's such a look to commit to being in a gang and then donning the Yes Man uniform. I can kind of see the other ones being a little cooler, but the Yes Man one, that's a commitment. Especially where are you gonna get those purple clown shoes from? Oh no. That stops him. Stopped him. There we go. Okay. Sometimes when they're right out of frame, they can still make it. I really should be focusing on getting them all at the same time just so that I get more experience that way. But we're taking this cautiously, since I'm a little distracted by the talking and monitoring the very active chat. I'm new to this. I didn't warn anyone I was going to do this either. So I didn't expect anyone to be watching. But if you are right now, you're watching the replay. Hi. I hope you're having a nice day. Circle in the block. Yeah, if you saw a 10-year-old just like doing rounds around a block and then beating up the kids at the arcade, I do love that too. It's the arcade that these hooligans are hanging out at, and you're playing a video game. So like, no, I'm a good kid. I play video games at home, not at the arcade. That's where the bad kids go. You think the Pokebunk would have? I'm not here to body shame, but you would think he'd have a little more in terms of leg musculature, considering pogo is a little bit of an exercise. I'm just worried for him. That's why I bring it up. No, that's not okay. People say that kind of shit all the time when they're trying to judge people's bodies. So, yeah. Forget I said anything about Pogo Punk. I really should just be judging him on the fact that he is in this gang and he's lost his sense of personality, his individuality. Alright, we're getting to the point where I can take him down in one hit. There's still, Ness isn't, he's not the hardiest of boys, though. Let's see, maybe I should invest in some equipment. I don't think there's anything that we can equip on our body. Let's see. Nope. You hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings by making me feel like this. We didn't have a friendship beyond this transactional relationship that we have. You're rumbled by the mailbox. I have some letters I need to send. I always love getting letters, but I'm so shit about actually sitting down and writing back. Oh, I shouldn't be cursing, should I? Sorry. This is just if I want to monetize. Which I'm never going to do that. Let's see. I do find it funny how the enemies end up getting stuck on the environmental sprites. I love it. I think I like the Yes Man music the most. It's just so bouncy. It's definitely the one that would be best to hula to. Yes, I think that's the first smash of this playthrough so far. Today. One thing I love about this game, you can play it one-handed, so you can drink your coffee. Two in one fight. Maybe, I think it's I forget if it's guts that stat that comes into play. Alright. I need to talk to someone about some investments. So I will be back in a moment. For now, hold your horses. Back in a second. welcome back to Video Games. This is Luis. I gotta give some credit where credit is due. One of the people that have actually really inspired me to try doing this was Tim Rogers at 108 on Twitter of Action Button Entertainment. He's also a really great video game critic. Writes these really very long reviews of games that not only explore the mechanics, because he's very into the mechanics of video games, having been a designer himself and video game thinker for a while. But then he sprinkles in these autobiographical elements to his criticism, and it really informs, I really appreciate that, because so much criticism pretends to be this objective lens of what's good and what's not, and that doesn't exist. So I really like this autobiographical approach that he takes, because you get a sense of maybe where he was at when he first played these games, especially with older titles, and where he is now and what journey he has been on since then. Yeah, I really love his videos, and he does some streaming too. Of course, his setup is much classier than mine is, but I'm just getting started. He actually played through EarthBound too. I might just be trying to become him. Except I'm not as talented a writer, of course. Alright, we'll call him for friends. I wish I could call on my friends and they would appear suddenly like that. You'll notice that skateboard has a Splatoon shape to it. I'm sure it's not the easiest skateboard to take care of with all those sharp corners. They really should reconsider. Let's see, we took some damage there, so we've got lots of burgers. Let's reach into our pocket of burgers that we have slept on for a couple days now. Haven't gone to the hotel for at least 2 trips with some burgers in my pocket. Man, you've got a pizza place next to the arcade. What a happening place. Can you hear that? That's my cat, Finley. Hey, Finley. What do you have to say? He remains quiet. I'm not going to be doing this for too much longer because we're approaching the level that we're hoping for. Let's try some of that PSI, right? Oh, hey, DJ. You like my new setup? I've got sunlight this time, too. It's beautiful. Oh, here we go. One of each. That's how you know it's a party. Let's see. This one might get ugly. Alright, knocked him off his board. We've got PSI to spare. Yeah, that's what we're going for here. Professionalism. Just working our way to level 10 so that we can get our PSI prism that we called it yesterday, because prism's our favorite thing. That way we don't have any trouble with Frank. Having a pretty okay weekend. I'm pretty proud of myself having set up this streaming stuff, because it's not the friendliest software. But I watched a bunch of videos and figured it out. I bet if I tried to learn like a craft or something, like knitting, I could do it. I could knit on stream. Alright. Gotten to level 8. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Hell yeah. Let's beat up some bosses. Yes, cat. We're being very talkative today. Should I should definitely sleep. I think I'm gonna talk to him out. Why not? Let's talk to this dog first. Did you know that the drugstore sells weapons? Oh, DJ, you asked what level I'm at. No. I'm still learning how to use these menus. I know this game so well. So we're level 8. Okay, I thought that we get to level 10 and that's when we learn PSI, Prism. Making the walk back home. Through the trees. We're looking into buying a house. It's definitely going to have fewer snakes, I think. But anywhere within the bounds of the town that I'm currently living in is just so expensive. See, we're going to have to get something on the outskirts. Sorry about that loud sound. My cat is speaking to his accountant. They're having a rough and tumble time about stocks. He invested heavily in the stock market a couple weeks ago and didn't go well for him. Some nice healing oranges were consumed before going to bed. It's like at a junior soccer league. You get your orange slices and Gatorade, and then you're good to go. Doesn't matter how many times you got kicked in the shins. You're good to go. Looks like dogs aren't scared of us still. Still too hardy. It's because they move faster than us. So they can still get an attack in. Ness ends up being not the fastest, and I relate. I relate a lot. Yeah, poor dog doesn't realize that I've moved on to beating up people instead. this guy have to say? Fellow Sharks. Oh, let's liberate that arcade. Speaking of liberation, make sure you boycott Amazon this week and almost always. It's part of the reason why I'm streaming on YouTube instead of on Twitch. I know I have full PSI, but I definitely just want to hear this. Yeah, people are boycotting Amazon this week because of the workers in their Amazon warehouse are trying to unionize. They've been very resistant to their efforts, so I'm gonna try to not. I know I work in a bookstore and I speak out against Amazon a lot, but I still do use them when it comes to their Prime video offerings, and I do watch a Twitch stream every so often. But that's fine. I don't try to beat myself up over it too much. But yeah, this week in particular, I'm trying to abstain as much as possible. My cat is making eyes like he's about to jump on here. Do you want to say hello? He does this. He's like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then when you try to get him, okay, cat on the stream. Would you like to say hello? Would you like to say hello to the viewing audience? Good job. Okay. See, this is why this game is great, because I can play one-handed while I hold my cat like a baby. Okay. I know you have strong opinions right now. Look how loudly he's purring. And also licking his lips. Are you annoyed or are you comfortable? Here, go on my shoulder. No? Please don't lick me. Okay, we lost sight of what we're supposed to be doing. Got distracted. There we go. Go on my shoulder. Alright. I forget. I accidentally push yes a lot. It says, come back after you finish. Ah, no. So this game does, after you beat Gigas, it does give you the opportunity to talk to every single person that you talked to before you actually get to the credit screen, which is really, really cool. I haven't explored that as much as I would like to, but there's a lot to explore. Not laughing hysterically. Thinks it's a joke. I do like how these punks become tamed, like the animals become tame. It does tell you that they're actually under the influence of Gigas as well. There we go. It's the guy with the sharpest cheekbones in town. So that's suggesting that Ness is completely silent this entire time against this guy with knives. Let's see. So PSI Prism costs 10 PP. So we're only going to be able to cast it twice. Let's focus on just physical attacks. Oh, the sunlight. Look, we're being blessed. Let me fix that on the webcam. Just a couple whacks of the bat, and Frank is down. You can't see the cat. There we go. He's purring so loudly right now. Frankenstein Mark II. I kept calling it like all kinds of names. The Frank Tank, I think at one point I called it. Frankenstein's pretty good though. Let's eat a burger just to make sure that we can last this entire time. So that burst of stream, he does it every turn. So I think you're supposed to defend when he does that. But we've got the power of PSI Prism. So that's what we're gonna use to take him down. You'll notice that in this version of the game, they actually reduced some of the visual effects so that they're less likely to cause seizures. So you get a little bit of a like blurred effect, which is good. I appreciate the accessibility. Alright. Just 2 PSIs. Prisms. I probably was grinding for much longer than I needed to, but I love the grind. Alright. First defeat. Fail-proof Frank. So, the Frank in the first Mother game, EarthBound Beginnings now in the United States, he is named Teddy, and I believe you end up fighting him, if I'm remembering correctly, and he ends up joining you as like the strong arm of the group, because your other 2 teammates are very frail, and so he ends up being really powerful teammate until he ends up getting injured badly, so then you lose him. Which is a very interesting journey to like have these moments of feeling really strong and capable, and then having to completely retool your strategy because the configuration of your party changed. It's also a really dramatic moment too when he gets injured. So this is suggesting that Frank is attuned to the strength of the sanctuary. Gotta get more information. The Touring Entertainer Shack. Yeah, there's no theater in this town, but there's a touring entertainer shack here, which is so many questions. Alright, let's go save now that we've accomplished. See, now they're running up to me, but they're not gonna start an attack. Yeah, never save at the drugstore. The drugstore, that phone costs you a whole $1. Oh, DJ, I just saw your chat. I guess the chat refresh on the stream is really slow, so you're just now seeing the cat. I'll bring it back on in just a moment. You think more mic? I just don't want you to hear I don't want you to hear all my mouth sounds. Alright, we're hitting the hay. We're making our dad think that we work too hard, but no, we don't. Let's replace this first one. And then we're gonna go ahead and delete this. Oh, nope. Select. Yes. All right. Well, sorry about the sun. Nothing I can do about that one right there. Except show you my cat some more. You're doing great. You're doing great. You're a little camera shy today. That's fine. That's fine. He is a baby in more ways than one. Well, thanks for joining me. Sorry, I know this still isn't performance-wise the best, but I'm working my way up there. I'm going to try this a few more times. I'm actually going to be streaming from a different account starting soon. I'm going to put you down. You're getting too wiggly. No? We're going to do this now. I made a Gmail account for the new podcast, Fairy FNTN pod at gmail.com. I don't know why. Maybe sometimes the people will want to email me about the podcast. That's assuming people want to actually listen. But anyway, thanks for joining. We're going to continue our EarthBound journey later, make our way to Giant Step, and there might be a little less cat. I don't know. They've been super needy lately.